Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Now, we start every day with our first word in Bible study. First word is when we talk about what we're going to do for the day, and we go over our little lessons and plans for the day. We ended every day with devotions, which is our high, lows, and God sightings, and then completely ended the day with a prayer and then going to bed. So on day one, after first word, we boarded the bus and went to Minneapolis, which is long. I'm sitting there on my phone thinking, when are we there? I look at the sign, 134 miles. Okay. So, the first day, we went to the Mall of America, which for me was a first. I've never been to a place that large, and I really enjoyed it. I traveled around with my new friends Mason and Abby, who just told me about the church and everything and all about everyone here. And after we went to the Mall of America, we went to the Lord of Life Lutheran Church, where we stayed, and they kindly let us use their rooms in order to sleep in or use their bathrooms and everything like that. On day two, we went to St. Stephen's Homeless Shelter, and there we just got tours from people who are homeless or who were homeless, and they just showed us around the city, showed us different places to stay if you're going through the things that they're going through. On day three, we went to Valley Fair, and I'm not a big fan of rides or heights, but I went on a bunch of the roller coasters with convincing, and there's no describing it. On day four, we went to Como Zoo, where we got to see a bunch of animals like giraffes, sloths, all that. And after that, we went to the Twins game, as you can see. And at the Como Zoo, on the other days, I didn't bring my wallet. So when I went to the Como Zoo, I went on a shopping spree. I bought 2 stuffed animals, a little name tag, and I think a necklace. So I lost a lot of money that day. On day 5, we returned home, and as I said, devotions, highs, lows, God sightings, and then fall asleep.
Hi, my name is Mason Powers. I am a youth here at Our Saviors and heading into my junior year in town. I'm here to talk about our day helping the homeless at St. Stephen's. Well, first, everybody was assigned a community educator, which was a person who is homeless or has experienced homelessness through the program. After that, we were sent out to experience a day in the life of a homeless person. Next, we went to Sister Mary Francis's home where the nuns of the hood live. And they live there and work throughout the community. They live and work throughout the community to kind of like help everybody, let them in to pray with them, and it's really good. Then we looked at some homeless shelters and housing at, what was it? There's Higher Ground and...
Shout them out. What were the places you went to? Higher Ground.
Yep.
Salvation Army.
Yep. Salvation Army, Higher Ground. It was really cool. After that, our group had lunch. This lunch was different because we were given $2.15 to eat on. And after we were given that, we were sent out to Cub Foods, which is like a grocery store that has a deli and everything like that. And $2.15 is not a lot to eat on. You can hardly eat on that. But a group of like 6 of us guys put our money together and bought 2 bags of chicken. We because it's a better way. So everybody ended up getting 2 to 3 things of chicken each and something to drink. Then after lunch, we went around and looked at more shelters and where they went 3 years ago to help the homeless. We went to that same shelter, met the people, and yeah, it's pretty cool.
Thanks, Mason.
Okay, so second day we went to St. Stephen's, and we were split up into 4 groups, and we each had 2 community educators, and all of them had experienced homelessness in their life. And so we walked around Minneapolis, and it was a lot of walking, and we went to different homeless shelters and stuff. My group went to People Serving People, which is a family homeless shelter, and it's like small apartments and stuff there, and they have like different facilities. They have like preschools and stuff there, and they have like a clinic there that anyone can come and use, and it was really cool to see all that. And one of our community educators actually had lived there because she had a few kids when she was homeless, and so when she goes back there, she knows everyone, and we talked like how her kids knew everyone and stuff, and it was cool to see how they are all tied into that. And then for our lunch, we went to House of Charity, which is like where they can go and eat for free. And there was a lot of people there, and you could just see how some people were very hungry. Like people were trying to like lick the food off their plates and stuff, and it wasn't that good of food, but it was a lot of food. And some people who had it worse, like other people would come and give them some of their food that they didn't finish and stuff. Like when we were done, we would give them, like we had bags of popcorn or something, and we gave them our stuff. After that, we went to St. Barnabas, yeah, and that had like a lot of like facilities that they could use. Like they could go and have just people there to help them like get back on their feet, get jobs, like and all that. And while we were there, downstairs there was this thing. What was it? Something for souls. Yeah. There was a few nurses who would go there like once a week, and it would be a foot service for them where they would come and get like the calluses off their feet and stuff, and just like work on their feet and stuff, which was really cool because they do a lot of walking and they don't have like the best feet and stuff, and it's good to be like that. And also like once a month or so they have people come in and do free haircuts and everything like that, so it's easier for them to like be accepted into like jobs and everything like that, and that's really cool for that. And yeah, that was our day at St. Stephen's.
Zach?
All right, before I start, I would like to I wish my mother a happy birthday and thank you for everything you do for us, and just words can't explain what you do for us. But my high on the trip was actually before the trip. I was working at the pool and I wasn't even sure if I was gonna come on this trip, and I got a text from Joe saying, this is your time. This is your time to lead, and this is your time to help these younger kids get acclimated to faith and just help grow everything. And I'm glad he sent me that text, otherwise I probably would have missed this trip and I probably would have worked. So I want to thank Joe for letting me come on this trip. My low on the trip was probably not having Margaret and Alex there. I mean, it's fun. It was still fun, and thankfully they're okay, but you're always missing something when people aren't there. So thankfully they're okay, but we missed you guys. And my God sighting was seeing the way we all came together. I mean, last year I went to Detroit and it was fun and it was amazing to see everything, but I kind of stuck to a group of six, 7 guys and kind of just stayed in my comfort zone. And this trip I felt like I gained more experience with the younger kids and I interacted with everybody. And I feel like that was the best thing that could have happened to all of us. And it was an amazing trip. And thank you guys for letting it happen for us. Thank you.
Thanks, Dick.
Okay, my highs is probably singing on the back of the bus on the way home from the Twins game, because it kind of just said we were all comfortable with ourselves. There was also laughing hysterically on Friday night midnight devotions. The low is probably not having Joe and Amanda and Margaret to not experience the tours we went on, because it was really touching to know that they're not as bad as like we think they are. That also happens to be my godson, is that the homeless, there's a stereotype that we think they're just on the corners and all these ragged down people, but they're just like us, and they just want to say hi to us as we walk by. And I also want to thank all the adult leaders. You guys were great.
Thank you. Thank you.
My high of the trip was, before the trip started, I heard a couple of friends talking about this, and I really wanted to go because I was with all my friends and we were going to the cities and, just gonna have a good time. A couple weeks after that, my mom got a text from one of my friends' moms asking if I would like to go on this trip, and it was just the most, welcoming moment. I knew something else had to happen, but it just felt great. My low of the trip was probably at Valley Fair. It was 68 degrees and rained every 5 minutes. So not really the best weather for amusement park. My God sighting was probably on a Wednesday when we went to the homeless shelter. I went with, I think it was George and Jeff, is it? John. And those two, they had some pretty interesting stories. When we walked around this, downtown Minneapolis for all afternoon, and it was great. It was fun to get out there and walk downtown. But when we went to the homeless shelter, we went to a couple others I can't remember the names of right now, so forgive me of that. But we went to a Red Cross, or what was it again? Salvation Army, sorry. But we went to there, and they have this room where people can stay overnight, and when we went in that room, it kind of just struck me like a ton of bricks, just how close the beds are, and just how your basic rights of privacy and security and just your basic human needs are just kind of stripped away from you, because the beds are probably 4 or 5 inches apart from each other. So, and then they kick you out at 6 in the morning. So that just kind of doesn't seem human to do. And after that, John actually told me his story about how he went to high school and he graduated from college to become an architect, and he was telling us all about all these structural flaws with all these buildings and stuff like that. And it was really just kind of hit me like, wow, this could happen to me. It could happen to anybody, really, any one of us. And how he said that every human lives about 1 to 2 paychecks away from being homeless, and that just is just kind of heartbreaking, I guess you could say. This day was really out of my comfort zone. It really got out there, and I've never really experienced homelessness, so I kind of just went along with the stereotype, and I want all of you guys just to erase that stereotype, because as Pastor Joe said, that most homeless people have jobs, and they just can't get housing. That's the problem. Homeless in Minneapolis are more than well fed. They are one of the most obese homeless populations in North America, and that's just, it's not food, or it's just finding housing. That's the big thing. And George told me something that really stuck with me, and he said, when you get home, I want you to go up to your mom and say thank you for all the stuff you did. And before that trip, I never really acknowledged what they did and how easy we all have it here in Hillsboro. So I just want to be on behalf of all of us to say thank you for all what you do, and we truly appreciate it.
I was in Detroit, Michigan with the youth group. We had a missions trip there. And there we collected diapers from many different hotels and we brought them to one place where people could pick them up. Even though we collected so many diapers during that trip, there are still babies today who won't have diapers and they have to improvise with many different things. When we were in Minneapolis, we got tours of different homeless shelters and we brought home a lot of information that will help us in the future. But did we help enough? Yes, we did get information that we can spread the word and maybe we can do more. But we didn't physically get our hands dirty and we didn't physically help anyone. I don't know. In my personal preference, I felt like we were just being shown things and that if people saw us, they would think, why are they just getting tours? Why aren't they actually helping us? So we could end homeless one day, but we still have so much to do in the world. As you've probably heard about the terrorist attack in France, there are so many different things happening in the world today that we just can't help. We don't know what's going to happen next. We don't know how to help everything. But sometime in the near future, maybe not near, maybe kind of far away, we can decrease the numbers and the world can be so much better. Just look for the light and don't stare into the darkness. Thank you.
Going from being in a third world country and doing mission work there to doing mission work in Minneapolis really makes you realize it's everywhere. It's not just in third world countries, it's not just in the US. And they're similar in a lot of ways, but they're also very different because in the Dominican Republic, we were hands-on with our ministry. And one of the things we actually did was we went to a dump where people were living and we served them soup and sandwiches. And we got to interact through translators because not all of us are fluent in Spanish, but we got to interact with them, the people at the dump, and I really felt like I was making a difference there. But on the mission trip to Minneapolis, it made me realize how close we all could be to living on the streets, or not necessarily living in the dump because this is a first world country and not a third world country, but we're all so close. It could happen to anybody, no matter what your situation is. Because when we were at the homeless shelter, a speaker came in and talked to us, and he was he had been a well-off guy and he had a job, but he got in a really bad car accident that made him unable to work, and that's how he ended up on the streets. So that just made me realize it can happen to anybody, and that really hits you hard, especially after experiencing a bunch of very diverse experiences on the 2 trips. So yeah, if anybody wants to talk to me about my trip, because I could talk about it for ever, so I'm not going to stay up here too much longer. But if anybody wants to talk about it, just let me know.
Thank you, Hannah.